Where he starts to look up the road, taking big, long, almost a drink of vision, imagining the tunnel that lies ahead of him, and then he goes for it. Will he? That's the question. This is just thinking Dan Martin could be thinking about a stage victory today. And Chris Froome's out of the saddle. Phenomenal piece of work. This is the 14% section, so he's showing he's still got his climbing legs very much intact. 1.8 kilometres to go, and suddenly Jessink is really tiring, and I'm not surprised. The crowd distracting, and Chris Froome is in a great place right now. What a recovery by Chris Froome, and he pours it on right now. Pace-wise, this is great, and here comes Contador, as if to say, no way, my friend, this is my race, and this is my pace, and I'm going to set it. And Valverde gets on his back wheel right now in the white combined leaders jersey. There we are, 1.8 to go. Only 10 seconds separating them, and Valverde tries to come through, and the motorcycle's doing all kinds of work here to try and clear the crowd and get by Dan Martin, who's right there. They can almost reach out and touch him. Well, they would if they could possibly take their hands off the bars. They're wrestling those bars right now. What a race, Sean.
Yes, well, we can see Contador pushing on there, and what a ride by Chris Froome. You know, getting to the front there in the steeper section. I think he was trying to take control and see what the other guys just follow, but Contador wasn't having to put in the attack there for a short period, and looked about, could see that Valverde was his wheel and seemed to have knocked it off, but Jessink still hanging on out there as we go close to the 1.5 kilometres to go.
They've got to try and get those motorcycles out of the gap. It's a narrowing one, and they're going to get in the way. And Aru goes on the attack now, and straight after him goes Contador and Valverde. Chris Froome is also here, but that's Perito being guided into position very, very effectively right now by Danny Moreno. 1.5 kilometres to go. Well, they're all over the road as we speak. Where's Dan Martin? That's the question. Fabio Aru has a look over his shoulder, and Rigoberto Urán's made it into this elevated company as well. Dan Martin has been bridged over to, and there's Chris Froome, who shone so brightly, but has now yet again just tailed off ever so slightly, and the counter punches are happening here again and again. 1,300 metres to go only until they'll get to the line. Well, it was something of a sprint. Jessink's now being caught. It's been wound in by these guys. And you can't even bet against Alberto Contador on a day like this. Of course you can't. Well, the fans are out in force, and they are offering up a bit of a distraction. They had to wrestle to get through a rather narrow point. They will have a hoarded end to this, and so it's going to be a clean finish. And Chris Froome's coming back into this, and Contador responds almost immediately. As soon as he checked over his right-hand shoulder, saw Froome, he went for it. Navarro picks it up and starts to guide them all home right now. The motorcycle, yet again, is in the way. There's too many of them because the sudden rush of pace that they find, Sean, on some of these little flat sections are catching the cameras out.
Yes, well, when they do go on the attack, we can see that coming up to the motorbikes very quickly, but I think the motorbikes can still hold on out in front, as we see Navarro pushing in on again, Aru putting in another attack. There was a moment there when everybody was waiting, looking, but they're in full action, full battle once again.
Full flight, and Fabio Aru goes for it, the young Italian, showing perhaps what might have been, I guess. He's 2 minutes and 27 down. All this gap will count towards his tally, and just clip off those seconds. And here's Chris Froome just sailing through, trying to find a bit of space on the right-hand side of the road. But right now, Aru has gone for this, and suddenly the road's going to become easier for him, and I think they're going to let him go. It's a perfect time to attack, and Fabio Aru has done exactly that.
Well, there was a little moment of looking at each other, and I think he realised that this is the moment to try something. But again, you know, the advantage is quite a small one, and if there's an attack out of the group of favourites again, you know, they will come back to him very quickly. He'll have to finish very, very strong as we still get to the kilometre to go.
Well, he's through that now with an 8-second gap, and it's just easing up to about 5% for this run to home. He takes this long, lazy right-hander, and they're chasing on, but not dedicated, I don't think, in the pursuit of Fabio Aru. I think he's going to make it. Well, he checks over his shoulder as if he doesn't trust it himself, and Chris Froome is just nudged to the front of those boys right now. And here we are, we're down to 500 metres only from the line. and it's going to be a happy time because it suddenly flattens out, and I think he's going to have his joy. Now, will there be any gaps posted amongst these contenders? Chris Froome has now taken up the pacing. It's Froome with Valverde, then it's Perito, and then it is Alberto Contador in the leader's jersey with Rigoberto Urán, and then Sammy Sanchez. What a group of talent, but what a talent this man is. The young Italian has timed it absolutely beautifully. He's going to take a stage win. He can't quite believe it. 300 metres to go. The last little turns, he's weaving all over the roads, but then suddenly finds the power that glory gives you. And he's going to take some today. He sails in almost out of sight. In fact, he is now out of sight of the pursuers. He'll round this. It's a wide open piece of road. It's been narrow out there, but the margin of victory is a great one for Aru. Not good enough to move himself up significantly, I guess, within the GC. And here comes everybody else, and it's Contador that's on his tail right now, and Valverde is there, and so is Perito Rodriguez and Chris Froome. Contador is thinking about it, but it's all too late for the stage win. Aru gets that, and now it's about placings, and indeed bonus seconds, and it's Valverde that crosses the line. Second with Froome, and with Contador finishing in third, and excuse me, there is Urán right now. Dan Martin as well. What a day, Sean. What a punch-up we had at the very end.
It's a go-to for the riders, which is great, because we always get those quotes for you, top and tail of the day, and it's down to the great efforts of Laura.
Fabio Aru takes it 6 seconds ahead of Valverde, Rodriguez and Contador. Then a gap, another second back. Chris Froome, Urán, Sanchez, Dan Martin, Navarro, Jessing. Take nothing away from this young Italian. That was a fabulous ride and a well-won stage. Timed it beautifully. But no doubt the GC boys are watching each other. They're fighting each other. Call it what you will, Sean. It's war at the top of the GC.
Yes, well, it's all to fight for, and every second counts, and we can see that out on the road today. You know, Valverde, Contador going for that intermediate sprint again. Very aggressive racing, and the opportunity was there to, to take a little time bonification. Valverde, taking the victory and taking a number of seconds, and again at the finish. So he's just working away at it, pulling the time back on Contador today, and the other big favourites. Very much everybody very close together today on that final climb. Surprisingly, I thought they would be.
Actually, that for Chris Froome. Well, his prayers and yours were answered. Fantastic performance by Froome, very gutsy. Contador leads by 20 seconds ahead of Valverde, by 1:08 from Urán. Froome by 1:21. On 95 seconds separate the top five, with Joaquim Rodriguez 1:35 down. Then comes Sammy Sanchez, Fabio Aru, today's winner, who gets his bonus out of that gap.